All the popular option strategies ranked, baby. Let's go into it. The big bad cover call, one of the most popular option strategies ever in the world, but also one of the worst. You're not going to like me for saying this. You're not going to like me for exposing this, but I'm just going to tell it to you how it is. Cover calls suck. Cover calls are not going to scale your portfolio in the long term. It might work in the short term, maybe a 1-2 month, couple year period if you get lucky. But in the long term, nobody beats the stock market doing cover calls. This is why. When you do a cover call, you're going to cap your upside. You're going to be bullish and bearish at the exact same time, and it's not even going to protect your downside. Let me explain. In order to do a cover call, it's covered because you own 100 shares per contract, right? If you go buy 100 shares of whatever company, don't you want the share price to go to infinity? You want it to go to the moon, right? We agreed. We want it to. But then you go sell cover calls against it to generate this cash flow to cap your upside. How would you be bullish and bearish at the exact same time and say that that is logical? You can't. You can't be bullish and bearish at the exact same time. Well, Brandon, maybe I just think the stock that I hold is going to go sideways, so I'm going to sell calls on it to generate some cash flow. That's possible. But here you are timing the market. And could anybody really time the market in a short term? Debatable, but probably not. That's why all the rich people do long duration options, right? So here's what ends up happening with most people. They do cover calls, they buy single stocks, and they were right to buy the stock, and it goes to the moon. The share price does go to the moon, and then they're upset, and they're trying to roll their cover call up and out because the share price is way higher than the strike, and they just left all this money on the table. So they wish that they wouldn't have did it from the beginning. And trust me, I've done that before, and I'm sure that you probably did it before too. So if you're bullish, just be bullish. Don't try to generate cash flow to feel like you're doing something, and doing this cover call, it's not going to help you in the long term. And then what about this downside protection part? Does it really help you on the downside? Not really, because if you sell a 100 strike price cover call, you might pick up $2 per share in premium. So that's 2% of the premium, 2% of the strike price for premium. And then the share price falls 50%. So you have 48% downside exposure. The cover call didn't help you. Well, Brandon, I use cover calls to go sell my shares too. Just go sell your shares then. Because in order to get your shares called away from you with a cover call, the share price has to go up to the strike. But if you're bearish and you think the share price is going to fall, then the shares will never get called away because they went down, not up to the strike, right? All this stuff is obvious when you say it out loud, but people just maybe need to hear it. So the cover call is a retail trap that a lot of people claim that they do, and a lot of people claim that they make a lot of money with. And sometimes you will make money with it, and sometimes you will generate some cash flow, but that is going to come at the cost of appreciation. And that is going to come at the cost of underperforming the stock market in the long term. Why not just go buy the S&P 500 and just completely forget about it, right? You could. Okay, now the big dog here, the cash secured put. This one, I don't know which one's more popular, but I'll say they're about equal. Like the cash secured put is big time, especially with retail investors. Let's think about this. There's a humongous pile of cash. Humongous. There's a humongous pile of cash to go secure your cash secured put trade. For example, you're bullish on a stock, you want to go sell a put. We all agree that selling a put option is a bullish strategy. I agree. $500 strike price company. You go sell one contract, you're going to have $50,000 in cash sitting in your account doing nothing. $50K in cash. That's a lot of cash at a time that you're bullish. If you're bullish enough to go sell a put, why would you want to have $50K in cash sitting there doing nothing? You wouldn't. So here's what often happens. I know that you guys are all smart. You're selling a put, you did it right. But if you would have just took your $50K, put it into the actual company and just straight up bought shares, that $50K might have went up 50% because the share price you were bullish on, you were right, it went up 50%. Your $50K then would have been $75,000 if you do 50% ROI on $50K. $25K you throw onto it. $50K would have turned into $75K. But instead you decided to go do the cash secured put, generate cash flow, and you picked up $2,000 or $3,000 in premium. Would you rather have $50,000 plus $3,000 in premium, $53K, or $50K plus 50% appreciation for a total of $75,000? Which one would you rather have? Obviously, we would all want the more money, the bigger account size, right? And let's just look at what happened with the market during the Iran situation. People were right to go sell a put. They were wrong to choose the cash secured put. Well, Brandon, I didn't know there was another way to do selling puts besides a cash secured put. There is, and there's a much better way. And I'll show you in just a second what that looks like. But the people that sold the cash secured put, you guys saw the market run up like 30% in 2 months. You did not pick up 30% in cash flow in 2 months on your capital to secure it. Dude, you weren't even like close. I'm stuttering now how bad this actually sounds out loud. You could have put your 50K in, got a 30% ROI, and made bank. You could have made a lot of money on that. But instead you chose a cash secured put and you left money on the table. So I will never do a cash secured put, even in a retirement account, because I know you can't have margin in a retirement account. Cash secured puts never have a place in my portfolio. If you're bullish enough to go sell a put, do it, but don't have the cash sitting there securing it. That is very inefficient use of capital. You will never beat the market in the long term doing that because of the major cash drag. Let's go to the next one. The poor man cover call. And I just want to go point out the obvious right here. It's called poor man cover call for a reason. It's not called the rich man cover call, right? This is for poor people. And poor people do this because they're poor, because they don't have money. Rich people don't go do the poor man cover call because the poor man cover call sucks. Just like the cash secured put sucks. Just like the cover call sucks. And here's the exact reason why. When you go do a poor man cover call, the goal is to basically be able to do a cover call without having to buy 100 shares of a company. So you go buy a leap call option. It's cheaper to go buy the leap call option versus just going and buying 100 shares. Fine, I get that logic right there. But what about the idea that you're bullish to go buy the call, but then you're bearish to go sell the call against it? How do you win if you're immediately betting on red and then betting on black at the exact same time? Well, Brandon, the leap call option's a year out. The calls that I'm selling are 2 weeks out. It's a time difference. I'm long-term bullish, short-term. I don't think the stock's really going to go that much. I don't think the stock's going to go that far. Okay, let's say that you're right. If you don't think the stock is going to go up, or you think it's actually going to go down, which would help your cover call, why wouldn't you just wait to go buy the leap call option after the stock fell? You're not only going to get it at a cheaper price, you're not only going to get a better strike price, but your chance of actually making money is orders of magnitude higher because you're initiating that leap call option when the stock fell, and it's cheaper, safer, and more compelling. But instead, all you see is you're just blindsided by, well, I want to get cash flow. I need to go do this right now because I see people online doing it. That's not where the money is at. It's called a poor man cover call for a reason. I'm not against doing a leap call option, but when you sell a call against it right away, it's a fool's game because buying a leap call option is like a max bullish trade right there. Like you are super convicted if you're going to go buy a leap call option. Like that setup has to be a table pounder buy. But then here you are selling a call against it to cap your upside. I would never want to do that. It's called a poor man cover call for a reason. Next one, number 4, the big bad spread. And I know that a lot of people are going to give me crap for this one, but just let me give you my thesis on it. We're all here to make money, right? Let me explain my thesis. A spread means that you're bullish and bearish at the exact same time. Brandon, give me an example. Okay. You go sell a put, you go buy a put below it. You sell a $100 put, you buy a $90 put below it. You have a width of 10. Fine. Max you could lose is $10 per share times 100 shares per contract. 10 times 100 is $1,000 that you could lose per contract. You define your risk. Here's what I say. I say that, have you ever seen Warren Buffett, one of the best investors of all time, ever go buy shares of a company and then immediately go hedge and buy puts against it right away? Not one single time. And that's exactly what a spread is. So do you really think that you know more than Warren Buffett? Do you have more than $150 billion in your pocket right now, in your bank account, in your brokerage account? I know that you don't. So it's like, why do you think that this secret strategy, this secret spread strategy is going to help you, but Warren Buffett didn't think to do that himself either? He's one of the best investors of all time. The best investors do not do these strategies right here. None of them. And I know that a lot of retail investors do. That's why I wanted to make this video and open your eyes to it. So when you're doing a spread, you're bullish and bearish at the exact same time. A poor man cover call is essentially a spread. It's the same thing. But you just don't want to do this. It doesn't make sense overall. What you should do instead is you should be bullish or bearish from the get-go. Figure out your level of conviction. If you're bullish, buy shares, sell puts, buy calls. If you're bearish, sell calls and buy puts. Those are the options right there. But trying to be bullish and bearish at the exact same time with the spread makes absolutely no sense to me. Instead of selling a put and then buying a put under it, take the cash flow from buying that put under it and just go buy shares of the company that you're selling to put on. Because you're selling to put because you're bullish, right? So why not just go take that extra capital and put it into the trade that you were ultra convictive of, that you did your research on, that you truly understand every aspect of that business. You understand where the economy's at, the interest rates, the valuation level, and earnings per share growth. You understand where the lay of the land for the stock market's at. And then you bring that level of confidence and conviction to the trade. Then you'll make money in the trades. But by doing spreads to, quote, define your risk and protect your downside, that makes no sense. Because when I'm selling a put, if I were to ever get assigned on that, I will be very happy to take assignment of a great company at a good price. But when you go buy a put, you're setting yourself up to sell shares when they're cheaper. That's what buying a put allows you to do. It's just protection. It makes absolutely no sense. Let's go to the next strategy right here. Short duration options. Everyone says, well, Brandon, theta, theta, theta. When I go sell a short duration call or a short duration put, theta helps me. And you're right, it totally does. But you're missing the boat. You're missing the big needle mover in the room. That is, nobody on earth knows what the market's going to do in the short term. And options, in the most simplest way, is just a form of magnification. You're doing magnification where you have a little bit of an edge when you're selling options in the short term because of theta, but you have zero margin of safety and zero edge because nobody knows what stocks are going to do in the short term, right? This is why you don't make money in the stock market, because you choose the wrong strategies and you choose the wrong expiration dates, also the wrong strike prices too. If you get the right expiration date, you could get a much better strike. But without getting into the weeds on that, let's just stick around with the short duration options. Well, Brandon, I need monthly income. I need to generate cash flow to live. Here's an example for you. Warren Buffett right now is worth $150 billion. $150 billion. He's 96 years old, I believe, somewhere around there. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If when he was 65 years old, he would have took all of his Berkshire Hathaway stock, put it into bonds, yielding 4.5%. Right now at age 96, he would have about $15 billion. But because he stayed in the stock market and invested for total return, total ROI, he's got $150 billion right now. So $150 billion versus $15 billion, a difference of $135 billion. Which one would you rather have? Obviously more money, right? So for the person that sits there and says, well, Brandon, I need monthly cash flow, I say, why can't you just go sell shares of your much larger account to generate your own monthly cash flow? And then in the months where we are selling a bunch of puts, like longer duration puts, those are months usually when the market is down, which means it's advantageous to sell the put, which means those are the months that you're not going to be selling your shares to generate cash flow, to have to withdraw and sell your shares when they're cheap. Those will then be the months where you're generating cash flow and you can just go withdraw it from your brokerage account because you're doing the portfolio secured put, right? That's what you want to do. Invest for total return. And it's okay to sell your shares sometimes. Do not get the wheel strategy and all these short duration trades making you feel like you're doing something productive. But in all reality, you're not even beating the S&P 500. Just go invest in the S&P 500, get your 10% per year in the long term and do nothing. It's probably going to beat every single strategy in addition to the wheel strategy that I haven't covered yet. It's going to smoke all those in the long term. So consider that. Nobody knows what the market's going to do in the short term, so why are you trying to make bets on that? My strategy, very, very simply speaking, I buy great companies for less than what they're worth and only use stock options to magnify ultra high compelling trades. I do 1+ year portfolio secured puts, 1+ year leap call options, great companies below fair value, keep it simple and long duration only. Because I don't claim I know what stocks are going to do in the short term. I don't claim I know what option strategy is going to print cash in the next week or the next month or the next 2 months. Nobody knows. What I do know is when I buy a good company for less than what it's worth, and it's really bullish, I'll go sell some puts. And when it's super, super bullish, I will go buy some calls. And I secure these puts right here, not with cash, but with my base portfolio, my S&P 500, my NASDAQ, my individual companies that are great companies bought for less than what they were worth. That is what secures my trade right here. So I have no cash drag. I'm not actively on margin. I'm paying not a penny in margin interest, and my ratios and risk management is impeccable. If the market falls 50%, I will sleep well at night. Because when I talk about in my other videos, the ratio thing, that is what I'm talking about. My ratios are super duper in check always. So that's where the big money is at. And if you want to learn more about my strategy, watch this video right here. It will change your life, or click the link in the video description for the 10-day stocks and options transformation training. Hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. It will blow your mind if you see what it's actually about. I'll see you guys in the next video.